You can't solve your problems by thinking harder. Overthinking is a logic trap. Zen masters use koans, riddles that break your brain. Watch now to learn the 3 questions that unlock instant clarity. Part 1. The Loop of Overthinking. Welcome back to Echoes of Life. How often do you find yourself trapped in the same mental prison? You have a decision to make, a conflict to resolve, or a feeling of anxiety you can't shake. So, you do what you've been trained to do. You think harder. You run the problem through your logical processor again and again. You analyze. You list pros and cons. You try to calculate the perfect outcome. Yet, the more you think, the more paralyzed you become. That feeling, the endless mental churning, the anxiety that comes from trying to figure out a problem that cannot be figured out. That is the loop of overthinking. And it is draining your energy, killing your decisiveness, and stealing your inner peace. Your rational mind, your mighty logic processor, is excellent at solving mathematical equations and building bridges, but it is fundamentally flawed when dealing with the fluid, paradoxical nature of life, emotions, and consciousness. Logic only works with known data, the past. Life constantly presents unknown variables. The present, when logic encounters the unknown, it short circuits, resulting in decision paralysis. The Zen masters recognized this mental trap centuries ago. Their solution was not more logic or more thinking, but something radically different. The Koan. A koan is not a riddle you solve with your intellect. It is a shock tool designed to intentionally break your rigid logical framework, forcing your mind to bypass the analytical processor and access a deeper state of direct perception. This direct, unfiltered realization leads to instant clarity. The answer comes not from calculation, but from silence. Today, we will explore this powerful mind breaker. We will understand the trap of our logic, and then we will actively use 3 famous Zen riddles to shatter the chains of overthinking and unlock a state of profound, instantaneous insight. It's time to stop thinking and start knowing. Part 2. The Trap of the Thinking. Mind, before we use the Koan, we must understand the enemy, the thinking mind. Our thinking mind is defined by dualistic logic. It operates on binaries, true or false, good or bad, right or wrong, me or them. This dualism is a necessary tool for survival, but it becomes a terrible master when applied to the subtleties of life. When facing a major life decision, should I leave this job? Should I move to that city? Your dualistic logic creates an endless internal debate. It finds 2 perfectly balanced arguments. Yes, you should move for growth, and no, you should stay for stability. This is the core of Park's decision paralysis. You are trying to use a 2-sided coin to decide on a 3-dimensional reality. The thinking mind can only process what it can label, but the deepest truths of existence, love, consciousness, reality, are fundamentally non-dual. They exist beyond the labels of is and is not. The Koan is thrown directly into this logical machine. Like a monkey wrench, it presents an impossible question, a paradox that cannot be solved within the rules of dualistic logic. The purpose of the koan is not to find a verbal answer, but to create a state of impasse, a complete mental deadlock where the thinking mind finally admits, I don't know. I cannot solve this. This is the glorious moment of surrender. When the intellectual mind finally gives up the fight, the mind becomes momentarily silent, clear, and open. In that sudden, profound silence, the raw, direct perception, the truth of the situation, can spontaneously arise. It's like kicking the main power source and seeing the emergency light, intuition, flicker on. The koan is your tool to deliberately short-circuit the logical processor and escape the thought trap. Part 3. Koan 1. The sound of one hand. Clapping. Let us start with perhaps the most famous and accessible koan, first assigned by the Zen master Hakuin Ekaku. The koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Take a moment. What does your mind immediately do? It analyzes the physics of sound. Sound requires two objects colliding to create a vibration. Since there is only one hand, logic concludes there is no sound. Or perhaps it must be the sound of the wind, or a metaphorical sound, or the sound of the body moving. Your logic immediately scrambles to provide a rational answer. The trap, Hakuin's genius, was forcing you to confront the assumption of sound. The koan forces you to look for a physical vibration where there can be none. This immediately traps the analytical mind. The purpose, the mind breaker. Your task when holding this koan is not to find a verbal answer, but to sustain the question until the mental chatter about the answer ceases. You must listen with an intensity that goes beyond the ear. The koan forces you to look for sound from a place of no sound. When the logical attempt to define or locate the sound finally exhausts itself, the mind is suspended in pure, searching awareness. In that space of pure silence, the true answer, the sudden recognition of your own deep stillness and presence, may spontaneously arise. It is the sound of inner silence. It is the realization that the listener is the sound. This first koan teaches you to stop searching externally for a solution and to find the answer in the quiet depth of your own awareness. Part 4. Koan 2. The original face hour. Second koan tackles the deepest source of anxiety and overthinking, our ego and our sense of self. Our thinking mind relies completely on defining who we are. Your job title, your past achievements, your mistakes, your roles, parent, employee, friend. When this identity is threatened, anxiety surges. The koan. Show me your original face before your parents were born. Think about this question. Again, your logic immediately scrambles. It searches through memory. What did I look like as a baby? What is my genetic history? But the koan explicitly requires something before your parents even existed, which means something before your physical form and conditioned identity began. The trap. This koan traps your mind in the ultimate search for identity. Your logic is conditioned to believe you are a fixed entity with a defined history. This koan forces you to confront the possibility that your true identity is unconditioned, formless, and timeless. The purpose, the mind breaker. This koan is designed to shatter your attachment to your temporary identity. It compels you to look beyond the labels, beyond the roles, and beyond the stories your thinking mind constantly narrates about who you are. When held with sincerity, the koan creates a crisis of self. If I am not my history, not my thoughts, not my roles, then what am I? This crisis forces a breakthrough. The true answer is the realization that your original face is not a picture or a memory, but the unborn, undying awareness that observes the picture, the memory, and the thoughts. It's the realization of your unconditioned self, leading to a profound liberation from the anxieties tied to your temporary life story. Part 5, Koan 3. Does a dog have Buddha nature? Our final koan is perhaps the most famous and, for many, the most shocking because it challenges a fundamental belief within the Buddhist tradition itself. The koan. Does a dog have Buddha nature? The master Joshu answered, Mu, Muk, no, nothingness. Logically, every Buddhist text states that all sentient beings have Buddha nature. So, the logical answer must be yes. But the master, Joshu, gives the absolute negation. Mu, the trap. This koan creates a complete breakdown in the logical system. It pits the absolute belief all beings have Buddha nature against the absolute denial. Mu, your logical mind, is left suspended between an affirmed truth and a spoken negation, forcing an existential paradox. The purpose, the mind breaker. This koan is designed to free you from all mental concepts, even the holiest ones. It forces you to leap beyond the binary of yes and ursur, no, beyond the realm of definitions and concepts. Mu is not a simple no. In this context, it is often interpreted as nothingness, emptiness, or the void. The koan demands that you not just think about the concepts of Buddha nature or dog, but that you become ma, that you become the absolute emptiness and stillness that precedes all logic and definition. When you are truly mu, there is no dog, no Buddha nature, and no you to ask the question. This state of absolute negation shatters the illusion of separate, defined entities and leads to the profound realization of shunyata, the ultimate emptiness and interconnectedness of all things. It is the final answer to overthinking, because in the state of mu, there is simply no thing left to think about. Part 6, the Koan technique. How to break your brain. How do you actually use a koan? You don't solve it like a math problem. You become the koan. This is a 3-stage technique to achieve the mental breakthrough. Stage 1, holding the anchor of paradox. Choose one of the 3 koans that resonates most with your current mental tension. For example, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Your task is to hold this question in your mind with absolute devotion. This is similar to the anchor technique. From samadhi, But instead of anchoring your mind to the breath, you anchor it to an impossible question. You must keep the question present every minute of your day until it becomes a silent, constant hum in the background of your consciousness. Stage 2. The tension, the impasse. This is the critical stage. When your logical mind attempts to answer the koan, you must instantly and ruthlessly reject all logical answers. If you think it is the sound of wind, you must immediately discard it. You are intentionally building mental tension, forcing your mind into a corner where its most basic function, logic, fails. The tension, the feeling of mental distress and impossibility, is the fuel for the breakthrough. You must sustain this struggle, this feeling of impasse, until your mind is completely exhausted. Do not try to relax or escape the tension. Dive deeper into the paradox. Stage 3. The breakthrough, the release. After days, weeks, or even months of sincere holding and sustained tension, your thinking mind will finally reach its absolute limit. It gives up. In that micro moment of complete mental surrender, the rigid logical structure cracks open. The answer to the koan, or more accurately, your insight behind the koan, is suddenly revealed, not as words or concepts, but as a direct, intuitive realization. This experience is often described as a sudden jolt, a flash of light, or a wave of profound certainty. The koan has served its purpose. It has broken the machine, allowing the true nature of reality to shine through. The answer is not in the words. The answer is the experience of freedom from the words. Part 7. The clarity state. Life beyond logic. What happens once the koan has successfully cracked your mental processor? You achieve a state of consciousness that lies beyond logic, leading to tangible, real-world benefits. The end of overthinking, inner silence. The compulsive need to analyze and calculate everything disappears. Since the koan revealed that the deepest truths cannot be grasped by logic, you stop wasting energy on futile mental churning. Your default state becomes stillness rather than anxiety. This silence is the space where true wisdom resides. Intuitive decision-making. When faced with a complex choice, you no longer rely solely on slow, biased analysis. You have access to direct perception, the intuitive, nonverbal clarity that arises from deep stillness. Decisions become faster, more confident, and are rooted in the reality of the present moment, not just the data of the past. Freedom from identity crisis. By solving the original face, koan, you understand that you are not your thoughts, your roles, or your problems. You are the boundless, unconditioned awareness observing them. This realization dissolves the root of anxiety, which is the fear of losing a defined self. If you are unconditioned, you are unassailable. Koans don't teach you what to think. They teach you how to stop thinking so that a higher form of knowing can emerge. It is the ultimate antidote to the anxiety, confusion, and paralysis caused by relying too heavily on your rational, dualistic mind. The Zen masters mastered life, not by thinking more clearly, but by realizing when to stop thinking entirely. Part 8. Final Echoes. Choose Silence. Over logic, we have journeyed through the powerful, paradox-filled world of the Zen Koan. You now hold the secret to challenging and ultimately defeating the loop of overthinking that has been silently stealing your peace and vitality. The 3 Zen riddles, the sound of one hand clapping, your original face, orot, and om mu, are not just historical artifacts. They are active, live wire tools waiting for you to pick them up and apply them to the rigid structures of your own mind. Remember the mission: to stop using the flawed tool of logic for questions that demand direct, intuitive perception. The moment you feel the grip of overthinking tightening around a problem, you have a choice. You can return to the analytical loop, or you can pick up the Koan. Embrace this final challenge. Over the next 24 hours, choose the Koan. 1. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Hold the question in your mind for just 5 minutes when you are alone. Do not try to answer it logically. Simply hold the tension of the impossible question and listen for the silence that emerges when your mind finally gives up the fight. Thank you for joining us on Echoes of Life. If the promise of true clarity and freedom from overthinking resonated deeply with your desire for inner peace, subscribe to our channel and join our community dedicated to applying radical Zen techniques to master your modern, chaotic mind. Like this video to help the algorithm share this powerful mind-breaker secret with others caught in the endless loop of analysis. And finally, share this with one friend you know is struggling with decision paralysis and overthinking. Give them the tool to finally break through. Until our next exploration into the ancient wisdom of consciousness, may your heart be still and your mind be utterly clear.